welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I'm so excited for today's video because, as you probably can already tell from the title, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour reading challenge, but for the first time ever, I'm going to be attempting to do 24 hours straight. Every other time that I have done this video, I would either just pause the timer anytime that I took breaks and it would end up taking me days and days and days. I've tried to do the 2 12-hour day splits a couple of times, but I've always wanted to try and do the 24 hours straight and see, one, if I can even do it, and two, just how many books can I read in a 24-hour period. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I actually got up at 7:30 this morning and started the timer. It is now 9:18, so it has been it's been like an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes. I got up, made a coffee, and I was just listening to the audiobook for Two Twisted Crowns this morning. I listened up to chapter 10. I did have to take a break from listening to the audiobook real quick to do some stuff on my laptop because I'm uploading a video this morning and I ran into an issue like right before it was supposed to get posted. So I had to redo a couple things. So I did kind of waste a little bit of time this morning, unfortunately, but that's okay. I don't plan on pausing the timer really while reading. I just want to see, like, in a 24-hour period, how many books can I realistically read. So like tonight, even if I end up falling asleep, which I'm really hoping that I don't because I feel like I slept really well last night. I got like 10 hours of sleep, so I'm like fully charged. But even if I fall asleep, I don't plan on trying to like make up the time. I just want to see what I can do, you know? Think of this as a test of my reading abilities, if that makes sense. And I guess also of my abilities to not sleep. That is what we're going to be doing until tomorrow morning at 7:30. Reading for 24 hours straight, or attempting, because I genuinely don't know if it's even possible. Like I said, the book that we started with this morning is Two Twisted Crowns. I'm listening to the audiobook because I listened to the audiobook for One Dark Window. It just felt right to also listen to the audiobook for Two Twisted Crowns since it's only a duology and I listened to the audiobook for the first one. The first one I didn't love, but I didn't hate. I just feel like I felt very middle of the road with it. I think I rated it 3.5 stars or something like that. This is my first ever like gothic fantasy, so I feel like that definitely played a part into like why I didn't really know how I felt about it at the end of it. I do feel like where the other one ended, like my hopes for liking this one a little bit better than the first book were higher, if that makes sense, because like where it ended off, I just felt like maybe I would like the plot of the second book better. And so far it's been interesting, but I just feel like I still feel the same from the first book, but I'm only 10 chapters in, so it makes sense that my opinion hasn't changed drastically yet because it's only been 50 something pages, 74 pages, but still I just feel like I can't expect 74 pages to completely change my view of the entire first book, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at with this. I think that I want to listen to like half of the book and then possibly save some audiobook for tonight, because I feel like if I start getting really tired, it would be really nice to listen to the audiobook and read along. Like it would just help keep my attention, especially if I'm feeling a little bit sleepy. Might do that, might listen to like half of it, and then after that I'm going to pick a different book to sit down and just read, either on my Kindle or a physical copy. I have my entire September TBR to choose from. So yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I want to read a romance after listening to Two Twisted Crowns, because I've been reading just so many fantasies and like listening to so many fantasies and also thrillers. Like I've been reading a lot of thrillers, so I kind of just want to read a romance, and I'm looking at my TBR and I feel like I am leaning towards possibly starting Happy Place after I get halfway through this book on audiobook. So we shall see. But yeah, that is what I have been doing this morning. I am going to continue listening to the audiobook while I finish figuring out YouTube stuff, because I'm at a point where I can listen again while finishing these last few things. I'm thinking we'll go romance though after this, because I've just been reading a lot of fantasies and thrillers, which makes sense. Like going into September, I just feel like, I mean, who are we kidding? All summer I've been reading fantasies and thrillers. I have not left my fantasy and thriller mood at all since last winter. We'll see where the day takes us. The possibilities are endless and we're just getting started. So also I made it like 30 minutes into the audiobook and my AirPods died, so I have just been listening to it on speaker on my phone. I don't like that as much because I feel like, for some reason, I feel like I can't hear the words as clearly. Like even though my volume on my phone is really loud and it's like literally right next to me, I just feel like I cannot understand what they're saying unless it's like on my ear. But I think that's just because my brain is used to listening to audiobooks through my AirPods. So like when I start hearing it through any other format, my brain is just like can't comprehend, you know? So anyway, I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna stop wasting time on the timer yapping, and we are going to get halfway through this audiobook. okay. I'm still looking like a hot mess, but it's okay. I might take some time to get ready in a little bit because I feel like my stamina will improve. Anyway, that's not what this update is about. We have officially made it 4.5 hours into our 24-hour reading challenge, and so far things are going good. I feel like it's just been a nice relaxing morning. I don't really feel the pressure of the 24-hour challenge hitting yet. I have a feeling that later tonight things will be completely different, but for now we're just having a cozy, relaxing morning reading in bed. So I have officially made it halfway through this book, and I feel like I'm so conflicted on this because the first like 150 pages, I'm not even joking, I was so uninterested, and I feel like it's just because it took me so long to like even understand what was going on in the first book, and then by the end of it I was like, okay, this is like a solid 3.5. It was interesting, like the plot twist at the end was interesting, and I didn't dislike it. It was good, you know, but nothing crazy, nothing I'm like obsessed with, but I had higher hopes for this one. So then the first 150 pages, it didn't go immediately like where I thought it would go. It was kind of like way slower than I was anticipating this book starting out, at least. I'm so glad I was listening to the audiobook, and I think I said this about the first one too. Like if I was not listening to the audiobook, I don't think I would be this far into this book at all. Also, do you see his leg? Just I love the dogs, they're just always there. Anyway, the same with this. Like I would not be this far into this because I would just have lost interest. I would not have been able to keep paying attention. Like even while listening to this, it was so hard to like not let my mind roam because I'm such a daydreamer. If I am not fully invested in what you're talking about, I will literally leave mid-conversation and just like daydream about random stuff. So definitely glad that I was listening to the audiobook for this. I will say after the I remember it was like 150 pages too because I started daydreaming and I thought to myself like, oh my god, I just like don't care right now. Like I don't care about what is happening in the story. I don't care about these characters. I just don't care right now. And I looked down to see how far in the book I was, and I was like, okay, I'm only like 150 pages in. Like let me at least get to the halfway mark before I decide, because I feel like if I really am still feeling like I absolutely do not care by the halfway mark, like that is more telling. And I'm glad that I gave myself some time because I feel like I am a little bit more invested. One thing I will say is that just like the first book, like the main thing about this book is the plot. It's described as a romantasy, but I really feel like the romantic elements are so minimal in the first book and the second book as well. I wouldn't describe it as a romantasy in the same way that I would describe like ACOTAR or The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King or something like that, you know. But what I will say is even though the romantic element is not at the forefront of this book, when the romance did start in this book, I think I'm kind of enjoying the romance plot in this book a little bit more than the first book, and I feel like the point in time where I actually started kind of caring about the story was when the romance was introduced, because then I was like, okay, like that's cute, like I can root for that. And within the last like 2 to 3 chapters, there has been a development that has also slightly piqued my interest a little bit more. So I'm glad that I decided to keep listening at least to the halfway mark, because now I feel more motivated to finish the rest of the book and see what happens. But the first like 150 pages of this book, I just was like so uninvested. Like I just did not care. I don't know. And I was really surprised by this because so many people love One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns and like named it as their favorite romantasy and all this stuff. And so even just reading One Dark Window, I was kind of disappointed. I didn't like it as much as everybody else. So it is kind of disappointing to be halfway through and already know, like I feel like this will probably be right around the same rating as the first one, like 3.5, maybe 3.75 if it ends up being really good. I don't know what could happen in this story to make it like enter the 4-star territory. And I feel like if I save it for later tonight when I'm like tired and then it's just like something that I'm still not really invested in, I might be setting myself up for failure, because that's not really gonna keep me awake if I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'll need something that I'm really interested in later tonight and tomorrow morning, because that's when I'm gonna be like fighting for my life, I feel like. So I kind of just want to stick with this, finish it out, and then move on to something else. Honestly, the whole time that I've been reading this, I've been thinking about Happy Place by Emily Henry. So I think that I am at least going to start Happy Place by Emily Henry after I finish this. I don't know if I will keep reading that or read the first 50 pages and then kind of switch to something else. I don't know. I really just want to like mood read throughout this entire 24 hours. I love mood reading. As a person with ADHD, I feel like mood reading and me just like perfect match. My brain is just searching, and then whenever I catch on something that's interesting, it's like the best feeling ever. And then when I'm not interested anymore, I put it down and move to something else that I'm interested in, and eventually go back to the book and pick it up no matter how long it takes. But I just love giving myself the freedom to like just do whatever I want. It's honestly so fun and freeing to feel like, okay, I'm just gonna put this down now and switch to something else. So it is now 12:09. We have 19 hours, 21 minutes, and 2 seconds left on my timer. Marky is warming me up some lunch. Marky is actually here with the lunch right now. Thank you. Oh my god, it looks so good. Look how good this looks. What I was saying is that Marky was warming me up lunch, so I'm gonna sit here and eat lunch real quick, and then I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do some makeup and do my hair. I'm not like going anywhere, but sometimes I just feel more awake whenever I'm ready. On Audible, it says I have 2 hours and 46 minutes left in the audiobook. I'm going to eat my lunch and listen to the audiobook and then do my makeup, and I'm not gonna do my hair, I don't think. I'm gonna like fix my bangs. So I'm gonna do that, get ready, and then I'll probably update you guys whenever I have finished the audiobook for Two Twisted Crowns, give my final thoughts and rating for that, and then we will start Happy Place by Emily Henry. Okay, I finished the audiobook for Two Twisted Crowns literally like 5 seconds ago. It is 4:02. We have 15 hours and 21 minutes left. How long does that mean it's been? It's been about 6.5 hours. I feel conflicted on my rating for Two Twisted Crowns. My first thought was 3.75 because in my head, my rating for the first book, One Dark Window, was 3.5, and I liked this slightly more than One Dark Window, but I feel like it wasn't a 4 because like the whole first half of the book, I literally was like, I don't care. Towards the end of the book, I just like, the story was entertaining, but I was just like ready for it to be over, you know? But it was like not bad. I just wasn't fully invested. And so I know I'm somewhere in that 3 range. Then I go on my Goodreads and I actually rated One Dark Window 3.75. So then I felt conflicted rating Two Twisted Crowns 3.75 because I liked this more than One Dark Window. So like in my head for them to be the same rating, that doesn't make sense. So anyway, what I did to balance everything out is I still rated this 3.75, but I just rounded up to a 4 on Goodreads instead. And for One Dark Window, I rounded down to a 3. And that feels right. That feels like balance has been restored. So I do really like the way that this story wrapped up. Like I really am satisfied with the ending. It wasn't anything, honestly, I feel like there wasn't like a crazy plot twist or anything like that, but it was just like a very satisfying ending. So I really appreciated that. And like I said, I really enjoyed the romance in this book a lot more than the first book for sure. But yeah, thought it was good, but I'm kind of glad it was over. I'm like ready to move on. I don't know what it is about like the dark gothic fantasy vibes. It's like tiring for my brain. Like I remember whenever I finished One Dark Window, I finished it and I was like, my brain feels tired. That's where I'm at. I'm most definitely picking up Happy Place by Emily Henry next. I was thinking about starting this book the entire time that I was listening to Two Twisted Crowns, but I just knew, like I knew deep down in my heart, if I stopped the audiobook and started reading something else, like it was gonna be so long before I got back to that book because I wouldn't have the motivation because I wasn't like super invested. So I am going to start Happy Place. If you don't know what this book is about, which I feel like is impossible because this book is literally everywhere. It is by Emily Henry. It's like a contemporary romance. I don't know much about the plot because I really like to try and go into books as blind as possible. So for a lot of books, I just try and learn like the most minimal amount possible to like be interested in the book. But from what I understand, this book follows Harriet and Wynne. They have been in a long-term relationship and they have this whole friend group who has been like, it's like a long-term friend group. And every single summer they go on a summer vacation to this lake house together. It's like a little friend group tradition. However, the lake house that they usually rent out is being sold this year. And so this year is going to be the last year that they go on this annual friend vacation to this specific nostalgic house. The thing is, Harriet and Wynne recently broke up and none of their friends know. And because this is gonna be like the last vacation that they're able to go on, they don't wanna like ruin it for everybody. So they're like, let's just pretend for this last vacation that everything is fine. Like that way we don't make anything awkward or ruin the vacation for anybody. You know, let's just pretend like we didn't break up. Basically the whole gist is like, can they make it through the vacation? Cause that's, you know, awkward. So yeah, I've heard that this, despite the cover, is a very deeply emotional read. I honestly believe it because the only other Emily Henry book that I have read is Funny Story, and I rated that 5 stars. That was so good. From the time it started out, I just really enjoyed her writing, and that book specifically had a lot of like really subtle humor, if that makes sense. Like just little things where you find yourself like giggling throughout the book just because of regular like conversation between the characters. And that book too, like towards the end, I started getting getting teary-eyed over things, and I was like, when did I get so attached? Because it starts out and it's just like a regular story, and before you know it, you're just like so attached to the characters. And that one I know was like controversial. I know a lot of people didn't end up liking that, and I don't know if it was just because it was my first Emily Henry read, so I didn't have anything to compare it to, but I really enjoyed that book. And ever since reading that book, I have wanted to pick up Happy Place, because reading that book and rating it 5 stars and loving it so much just kind of confirmed that I think I will like this. I can't confirm it until I read it, so I'm not gonna say that, but I have very high hopes for this book, and I really think that I will like it. So I'm going to sit down, start this book. I don't know how far I will get into it because I have been a little bit daydreamy today. My mind is just like wandering, so I feel like I might be reading this a little bit slow, but honestly that's fine. I might pull out some tabs in case there's things I want to tab, because I do foresee myself having some things I want to tab in here, and especially if this is supposed to be an emotional read, you know, gotta tab it so I can torture myself later by rereading it. But yeah, I think once the sun goes down I might switch over to a Kindle book. I just feel like it's more cozy to read on the Kindle at night, so I'm just gonna read this until tonight. It's 4:10, so I have probably a good 4 or 5 hours before the sun goes down. Okay, I'm gonna start this. Okay, quick little update. First of all, it has taken me like 45 minutes to get through the first chapter of this book because I kept getting distracted. I had to change my outfit because Mark made me a little assorted snack and I dropped grapes on my outfit that were next to strawberries, and so then I got red juice all over my white sweat set. So put that in the washer and changed. But anyway, I already can tell like I love Emily Henry's writing. I feel like the writing in this book has definitely carried over the same way that it was in Funny Story. Like she definitely has the same like feeling already just through the first chapter. And what I wanted to say, because I didn't know what this book was about really whenever I started it, so it is about them going to like the beach house and everything like that, but I was mistaken. So first of all, Harriet and Wen are engaged. I thought they were just dating, but they're engaged. Second of all, she didn't know that Wen was gonna be there. Like I think she was just going, she just went by herself, and she just, I don't know if they like had a reason why he wasn't gonna go or something, but then she gets there and her friends are like, oh my god, did you tell her about the surprise yet? And she's like, what surprise? Like, what are you guys talking about? And then she turns the corner and he's there, and she's like, oh my god, because they are not together, but clearly nobody knows. So when I read that, I was like, oh. But yeah, I don't know. There's already been so many things that I have underlined. Not like it was anything crazy, but just like funny little things where I'm like, LOL, that's me. But yeah, thoroughly enjoying so far. 1 chapter in and I'm already a big fan. So we'll see. You guys, it's been honestly a long time. Let's see. We have 10 hours and 51 minutes left on the timer. It is 8:39, so I think that means it's been like, I don't know how much time I had left actually last time I talked to you, but I think it's been around 4.5 hours. Is that right? Why am I reading so slow? Anyway, this book, not to be dramatic, I think is changing my life. I am on page 125. I've made it to chapter 12. I can't even begin to to describe the way that I'm already just emotionally connected to this book. I feel like that's why I'm reading it so slow, because I'm like, I put on a little happy place playlist on my phone and I'm like underlining so many things and like writing so many things in the margins next to the things I'm underlining. Like, it's just like, I feel like I bought this whenever I very first started reading last October, and I obviously never read it since then because I always just felt like it wasn't the right time. I always, for some reason, just really felt like I would love this book, and so I always made myself wait to start it until the right time. And just the whole time that I've been reading this book today, it has just felt like the stars have aligned and this is the absolute perfect time for me to be reading this book. I don't even know why it's the perfect time, but it's just like, it's so right. Sitting here in my bed with like my dim lights and my little lamp next to me and listening to the Happy Place playlist on Spotify while I read, it just like, so many little things have like made me just tear up and like given me butterflies. Like, when I tell you that by the end of the first chapter I was like, okay, I'm gonna love this book, that like never happens to me. It usually takes me at least like 50 pages until I'm into a book to like be connected like that. And like by the end of the first chapter I was like, okay, I love it here. And by the time I hit 100 pages, I feel like I was like, this book is gonna be 5 stars. Like, I feel like there's no way it's not gonna be 5 stars, possibly 6 stars. Like, I just feel like so emotionally connected. The way that Emily Henry wrote this book is honestly insane, because there's so many times. Okay, first of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. So it's dual POV, and so it goes between real life, and then each chapter that's like in the past tense is labeled happy place, and it has like a different time and location. So those are quote unquote her different happy places, like her different memories. And the way that I feel nostalgic just reading about the past, and the way that Emily Henry wrote the conversations in this book is so convincing that it just hits you so deep. The most normal conversations have such a deep feeling to them. Like, I just feel like I'm feeling this book so hard already, and I'm only like a third of the way through the book, and I just feel like this book is imprinting itself on my soul the farther I go. Like, not to be dramatic, I think that this is gonna be my favorite romance I have ever read. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm so into this, and I just feel like I relate to Harriet so much, and like in the most small things, like, because I know it's kind of weird, like they were engaged and they broke up, so then I'm like, oh, I relate to her so much, but it's not even in that way. It's just like her as a person. So many things she says is like so relatable when she talks about like being a people pleaser and being anxious and over planning and just like all these different little things. I'm like, that is so me. And even to the point where like it went into like the past, and they were talking about one of the first times that her and Wynn had spent time together, and he like took her phone and he was looking through some of the photos on her phone. He was like, oh, that's so cute and all this stuff, and it was like making her blush. Tell me why I even related to that scene, because when me and Marky met in high school, one of the first times that we actually like hung out together, literally the entire time we hung out, we just like laid in bed and we spent like 2 hours going through all of his photos so that I could like get to know him better. And we like looked through all of his photos, and he gave me all these different explanations for all these different things, and all these just like, I don't know, it was like him letting me into his world. And so reading about them doing that, I'm like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I feel like nothing I'm saying is even making sense. And I'm kind of surprised. I mean, I'm not surprised, because I read Funny Story and 5 stars. It was so good. But I have this thing where like, if a book is really, really popular and I have owned it for a while, even if I haven't owned it, honestly, if a book is just really popular and like so many people love it, it really intimidates me. And so like, I'll put off reading the book, or over time it will start to make me feel like I'm not gonna like that book. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up because I don't want to be disappointed. I know it's so popular, but there's just no way that it's actually as good as people are saying. So like, I feel kind of dramatic coming on here and saying all this, but I just can't even, like, when I tell you I am having the best night of my entire life, I can't even like properly describe it, because I just wish that you guys could be here in this moment with me, because it honestly, not to be dramatic, it's magical right now. Like, I am just having the best time. And I know that I said that I was going to stop reading this and read on my Kindle whenever it got dark outside, which, hello, nighttime has arrived. But I'm having the best time, and like, I don't want to stop, you know, like I don't want to stop. I'm having too much fun. I just want to sit here all night and listen to this playlist, which also, if you are reading Happy Place, let me tell you what playlist I'm listening to, because genuinely the entire time I've been reading this book, this has been absolutely perfect. It's this playlist on Spotify. This is one reason that I love Spotify, because one, if you pay for premium, you get a certain amount of hours that you can listen to audiobooks, but specifically for playlists for while you're reading books, I feel like people make the best playlists to go along with reading books on Spotify. I don't think I really could find good ones on Apple Music when I used to have Apple Music. So that's why I just fully switched over to Spotify, because I was like, every time that I'm reading, I'm using it anyway. And then right when I switched over, then they introduced audiobooks, and I was like, this is just amazing. This is amazing. I love it here. Anyway, little Spotify tangent. But yeah, I am just having the best time. I feel like I don't even know what else I can say about this besides the fact that I love Emily Henry's writing. Even in Funny Story, because if you don't know, Funny Story is about this girl who's a librarian and she is in a long-term relationship, and then pretty soon before her wedding, I don't remember how long before it was, but her fiance leaves her for his childhood best friend, and then his childhood best friend was also married, and so she ends up temporarily moving in with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex-fiance. Did that make sense? That book, even the way that that was written, like the characters just felt so real, and I think about that book, I'm not even kidding, every single day, especially because right next to my house they are building a new library. I think it's supposed to be done like next year or something. Every single time I drive past it, I think about Funny Story, and I think that that library being built there is gonna be one of the best things to ever happen to me. Look at me just being a dramatic queen all night tonight. I don't know, I am just in such a good mood. I love this feeling, and I have said it so many times before, but this is why I love reading, because you find books like this. Obviously you saw, like, I listened to Two Twisted Crowns. I did read along for honestly majority of it, but you know what I'm saying, like I read Two Twisted Crowns. It was a good book, it was entertaining, it kept my attention, you know, whatever, but it wasn't like life-changing. But then every once in a while you get books like this, and I feel like it just alters who you are as a person, and I feel like that would sound so dramatic to somebody who hasn't ever experienced this, but as a reader, I know all of you know what I'm talking about, and it is the best feeling in the world. It's like, genuinely, there's nothing that could compare to this. Like every time that I see that TikTok where it's like, wow, that was such a high, I don't even know why people do drugs, it's like, genuinely, I don't need drugs when I have this. I don't need drugs when I have Emily Henry supplying me. It's just so good. So anyway, longest update ever to say that this is one page at a time altering my brain chemistry, and I don't want it to be over. And yes, it has taken me 4 hours to get through the first 125 pages of this book. Granted, 45 minutes of that was Mark distracting me in the kitchen, me dropping grapes on myself and having to wash my sweat set, things like that. I feel like I am reading slower than usual because I'm just like soaking it all in, and it's amazing. So I think that this is gonna become my new favorite romance book. And I thought this when I was reading Funny Story too, but I feel like I always hear people say how Emily Henry is like more of a contemporary romance author. I very much see that, because her stories, while it is like a romance at its core, I feel like the way that she writes and like the way that you so deeply know her characters as real people, I feel like that's what makes it more of a contemporary romance. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about actually, so let me not pretend like I know what's going on here, besides the fact that I'm having the best time of my entire life right now. I'm gonna keep reading. Let's see, I have 10 hours 39 minutes left. See, I can't believe it's already almost 9 o'clock. Like, I don't even feel tired at all, and I know in a few hours I'm gonna be LOLing at myself because I am going to get tired. I think I'm gonna try and just read straight to midnight, because midnight will be a big milestone for me. Honestly, guys, this is the longest I have ever made it in a 24-hour reading challenge, reading straight, by the way. Let me confirm. Wait, no, 7 to 7:30 is 12 hours. 8:30. Guys, we have made it 13 hours and what, like 25 minutes or something? I'm so proud. I've never made it this far. Yay! If anyone has been here since the Harry Potter video, can we all just LOL at the fact that by this point in the video I would have had like 4 mental breakdowns already? That's so funny. So anyway, I think I'm gonna read just straight to midnight. I don't think I'm gonna stop until I finish this book. Maybe I will get tired and switch to my Kindle, but I feel like the chances of that happening are low because I'm just having too good of a time to stop. Okay. Mark's making me move to the couch because I fell asleep. And I was doing so good. And I did mentally give up for a second there. I fell asleep. Mark told me that I should get up and go sit on the couch with him. And I said, no, I'm comfortable and I'm tired. He said, but you're doing so good. Just come sit on the couch with me. And I was like, no, I don't think I will. I think I'll just go to sleep. But he has convinced me. I'm so tired. My playlist is still playing. It's 12:04. I think I fell asleep for like an hour and a half. So I was telling them how I got caught in the act.
Sleeping?
Yes, and then I tried to stay asleep. Everyone say hi to Mark. Hi, Mark. He's the only reason that you have an ending to this video. It is in fact the next day. Even though I technically failed at doing 24 hours straight, I feel like I'm still so proud of myself for making it so far. Whenever I finished Happy Place and decided I genuinely cannot make it, I have to go to bed right this second, I only had 2 hours and 36 minutes left on my timer. That plus the time that I fell asleep, I feel like I was only like 4 hours short, maybe like 3.5, 4 hours short of making it the full 24 hours. So 20 hours of reading straight. Based off of my previous track record, this is extremely successful. So I did decide to pause my timer, and I am going to finish the last 2 hours and 36 minutes today because I just feel like I came so close. Like I want to finish the full 24 hours, even though I literally started this video by saying I'm not going to pause and then start. I decided I'm going to. So before we finish the last 2 hours and 36 minutes though, I wanted to give my review on Happy Place by Emily Henry. You guys, this was so good. I don't know if it was just like I said yesterday, like the timing of this just magically was perfect for me to read it last night or what, but I felt this book so deeply from start to finish. First of all, the way that the nostalgia in this book is so palpable and like the way that it was written feels so real. I felt like I had lived through these events and moments when we were looking in the past, and it was like pulling on my heart. Like I was feeling it like it was my emotions, and I feel like that's how you know it's a good book, if you're feeling the characters' feelings as your own without even thinking about it. Like you're just so in the story that you're just like engrossed in it and like feeling it so hard. That's what I was feeling because the writing was just so good. And not only that, but I feel like another reason that I instantly connected to this book is because I really connected with the main character, Harriet. Just so many of the little things that she would say, and honestly so many things that Wynn would say reminded me of Marky. Like I have so many notes in this book being like LOL me, LOL Marky, LOL this, like whatever. I don't know, I did not expect to connect to this book on such a personal level. Like I thought that I would really like the book. Funny story, I love the book, it was so good, but I didn't connect to it on a personal level. It was still 5 stars because it did get me emotionally and it was just so good. But this on Goodreads, I literally put like 5, 6 stars. Like I genuinely feel like this is a 6-star read for me from start to finish. No complaints. I was not bored. Just instantly put in the story. I love it so much. And I don't know if it was just the way that it was written. I could see it all so clearly in my brain, and it just like I don't even know how to explain it. Like reading this just felt like being in such a special moment. The whole thing just felt like such a emotional, I don't even know, it was just so deeply emotional. I can't even like fully explain it. And not only that, so I connected to the main characters. Their friend group that they have is so cute and well written to the point where like I genuinely feel like I know all of the characters. It's not even like just the main characters. By the end of the book, you know the entire friend group so well. And not only that, but so many things about this friend group reminded me of my friend group. And so throughout the book too, I was like getting so emotional because it's just like, how lucky am I to have this friend group in real life? Like genuinely, I feel so lucky because the way that the friend group is in this book is how my friends are. Like they will be in my lives forever. They are my family. Like my kids know them as their aunties and uncles. So I just felt even more connected on that. So not only do you have the nostalgia with the past moments, even the way that she talks about moments like as a special thing is happening, she's like, I feel like I am so happy in this moment that I'm already missing it, or I'm already like grieving it for when it's gone. Like I'm already sad about it being gone. And I feel that so much. I can't even explain, especially with having the kids. It's like so many things where you're just so happy or something so special is happening, and then it's just like you start thinking about the fact that the moment is actually gonna be gone. Like you're never gonna get this moment back. And it's just like, I don't know, it was put into words so well. So not only do you have the relationship, the nostalgia, the friend group, but she also talks about so many different things like grief, mental health awareness, growing as a couple, like being in a relationship from a young age and then being in a long-term relationship and like growing with each other into adulthood and just like growing through your partner becoming a different person essentially. Just like so many things, so many things. I can't even, I don't know. I feel like I could sit here and talk for 4 hours and not even like graze on what I feel about this book. I don't know. This is going in my Hall of Fame. I feel like in the romance category right now, she's sitting at top. This book is how I felt like whenever I read A Court of Mist and Fury. Like I feel like romantasy wise, it's A Court of Mist and Fury above all else. Romance wise, Happy Place above all else right now. I don't know what it would take for something to come in and beat this because I just don't know. I feel like I'm being so dramatic, but this literally like altered me, and I feel like it altered my trajectory in romance reading because it's such a high standard now. And now I'm kind of sad because I wrote all these little notes in the hardcover, and I know that not the rest of her books have hardcovers, and so I kind of hate that they're going to be mismatched. Like, and I don't know if it's just because the first book that I ever read of Emily Henry's was Funny Story, and obviously that was hardcover because it had just gotten released, and then I read this, which isn't a hardcover, but now I feel like I want all of her books in hardcover on my shelf instead of paperback. Like for some reason I really like specific books in hardback. I feel like most thrillers, not most, I like to have like all of my thrillers basically in hardback. I don't know what it is about it. I mean, I guess I have a couple that aren't, but I just feel like thrillers belong in hardback. Then beyond that, there's just like random books where I'm like, I just feel like this was meant to be hardback. And so now I feel emotionally attached to the hardbacks, but I'm a little bit sad because I don't think that People We Meet on Vacation or Beach Read, I don't think that those have a hardcover unless I get the book of the month. And I just feel like then they'll match hardcover wise, but two of them will have the book of the month thing on it. And so I'm like, I don't know. So anyway, just me already stressing about things that I don't need to stress about, but I choose to. I think the next book that I want to read is either Beach Read or Book Lovers. If somebody is well versed in their Emily Henry lore, I know that there's one of her books that looks like a summer read, but everyone says, oh, this would be perfect for the fall. Can you tell me which one it is? I feel like it's either Beach Read or Book Lovers, but I don't know. I kind of want to save Beach Read for last though, because people love it so much. So now I kind of want to read People We Meet on Vacation and Book Lovers and then Beach Read last, so that if I end up, I don't know, I can't imagine liking it more than this. Anyway, this was so good. If you have been putting off reading Happy Place because it's so hyped up like I have, I mean, wait until you're in the mood for it because it for sure affects your experience. Like I think it definitely affected my experience reading this, but definitely read it. I feel like especially with summertime ending, I feel like feeling all that nostalgia. I mean, I don't really feel nostalgia for summertime ending because I don't like the summer, but you know what I'm saying? Like the change of a season, I feel like is a great time to read this book where it's talking about so much nostalgia and so much change and entering new phases of life and just like all this stuff. I don't know. It was so good. Read this. So we are 2 books down in our 24-hour reading challenge. Like I said, I have 2 hours and 36 minutes left in this challenge, and I have the perfect book to end this challenge with. I am going to be reading Scarlet Angel, which is it's the 3rd book in the Mindfuck series, which is the like serial killer romance that I have been reading in my last few videos. So I'm on book 3. Honestly, book 2 was a lot more intense than book 1, but I do enjoy it because it's quick and easy in the way that each book is so short and so goes by really quick and it keeps my attention literally from start to finish. So like it literally just flies by, and then it's so satisfying to finish a book in like 2.5 hours. So that is the book that I am going to end this video with. I'm going to sit here and read the entire thing. I think it says the typical time to read this book is 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I might go like 4 minutes over the 24-hour mark, but I'm not upset about it. So I'm going to finish up this last little bit of the 24-hour reading challenge, and then we will have, for the first time ever, kind of mostly successfully finished a 24-hour readathon straight. Okay, you guys, we can officially say that I am done with my 24 hours. I am so tired. Emotionally, I'm at my highest because I have finished this challenge. I'm gonna call it successfully. Physically, I'm at a low because I'm so tired and I feel like I look run down, but that's okay because we did it. We persevered. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed reading it's like 2.5 books, honestly. The Mindfuck books I feel like are not, since I'm reading them separately, they're like kind of little novellas, but we'll go 2.5 books in this 24 hours. Literally the best romance book that I have read to date. A 6-star. So I'm calling it a success. I hope that you enjoyed. If you aren't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future content from me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.